Here they come.
Welcome to this week's edition of Here They Come. I'm Paul Ramlow.
And I'm Jessica Schroeder.
Well, Jessica, this past Sunday night in Orlando, Florida, the United States Harness Riders Association hosted its annual National Awards Dinner. On that night, the Dan Patch Awards were presented to the leading standardbreds in the sport from the 2011 season. They also honored the leading men and women in the sport over the past year. Very exciting night. You were down there.
I was down there, Paul, and it was great to see the whole industry get together and celebrate the 2011 racing season.
Well, our Ken Weingartner was down there as well, and he caught up with George Brennan and Ron Burke after their awards for Trainer of the Year and Driver of the Year.
Thanks, guys. I'm here in Orlando, Florida for the annual U.S. Harness Riders Association's Dan Patch Awards Dinner. As you can see behind me, the dinner is in full swing. We have a live auction going on. And during tonight's events, I was able to catch up with some of the award winners. Let's hear what they had to say. George Brennan, Driver of the Year, second year in a row. Accomplishment, you know, what does it mean to you?
Between the Hamiltonian Oaks, and it just doesn't get better than that. Driving title at Yonkers, I won 7,000 races, so everything just went my way, and it was just an incredible year. I was able to stay healthy, you know, touch wood on that, and you know, Ken, it just doesn't get any better.
Looking back on the year, obviously, Hamiltonian Day, such a special day. As you've had time to sit back and look back on that, what type of feelings does that bring to you?
Somebody made up a book, and it's a beautiful book of Hamiltonian Day, and I mean, it was beautiful. And to look at that, it brought back that day, and looking at that day, I mean, it's mind-boggling, because I just cannot fathom ever having a day like that again as a driver in this game.
Ron Burke, Trainer of the Year award winner. You know, to win this award, your father won this award. You know, what does that mean to you?
That's probably the biggest thing it means to us. You know, that's something my father did, and you know, I looked through it and I didn't see where any other father's son had done it. So, you know, to us that just, you know, further, you know, shows what we as a group created with our stable, and you know, that's where I take the pride in. It's our stable.
You have two award winners tonight with Sweet Lou, and foiled again with a really remarkable season for an older pacer. What has he meant to you?
I mean, Foyle's been incredible, and like every year he gets better. You know, I've probably sold him short all the way until this year, and now, you know, even I've become a believer that he truly is one of the best horses to race. So he's just a pleasure to race, and love to watch him go.
Sweet Lou has been very special to you as well. You know, you said the Breeders' Crown was the greatest win of your career so far. You know, tell us about him.
Yeah, to me, he's the one horse that, you know, maybe since Buckeye that, you know, just is special. He's a special horse. He's fantastically fast. He's wonderfully attitude. I just don't know where the bottom is for him, and hopefully next year everything will hold up, and I think he will, you know, go on to prove himself to be, you know, one of the best, if not the best horse we ever had.
We appreciate Ken taking the time to interview all the different award winners throughout the night, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from him again later in the podcast. Moving on to the 2011 Rising Star Award, Dan Noble was the leading dash-winning driver for 2011. And true to form, he was racing at Buffalo on Saturday night and had to catch an early flight Sunday to Florida to receive his award. Noble had 773 wins for 2011, and he shared some of his insights from his racing season.
The Rising Star Award winner, Dan Noble.
What's that mean to you?
It's a big privilege to receive an honor like that, especially coming from a family of being the fourth generation in the horse industry. It was an amazing year, and I didn't realize how much work other drivers really put into going for an accomplishment like that. But it was a lot of work.
Leading North America in wins last year. You know, you talked about the work that involves. You know, how aware of it were you, and how much of a chase was that for you?
I really wasn't too aware of at that starting out that I'd even come close to it, but I ended up setting a goal. I was wanting to at least win 600, and when I got to 400, I thought, man, I'm going to get there, and I just started traveling as many tracks as I could go to.
And keeping in line with the younger generation, Frank Antonacci received the Lou Barish Breakthrough Award this past Sunday night in Orlando. Frank, as a trainer, put together an ownership group called the Bourbon Slush Stable. Got a lot of new owners involved in the sport. He talks about the success of that venture.
So we got together this Bourbon Slush stable. Over the course of 24 hours when we opened it up on the internet, we had over 120 people respond, demanding over 400 shares. So obviously the 100 share concept was going to be hard to pull off. We added another 2 horses to the stable, and I think our final total was 125 new people in the industry pretty much overnight. So to me, that was a signal that our sport is intrinsically good. Our horses are great, the people are super. We just got to figure out a way to bring it to more people and let more people enjoy what all of us here are enjoying tonight.
In turning our attention to the Dan Patch Equine Awards, Foiled Again was named Pacer of the Year, Sandpail Trotter of the Year, and of course the Canadian Vader went away with Horse of the Year as well. Right,
those were the only awards that were not presented initially. They were kept secret until the awards dinner. What was really interesting, Jessica, is 2 7-year-olds come away with these awards this year. A 7-year-old Pacer of the Year, the closest Pacer of the Year vote in the history of the award, 41-37, with Foiled Again winning overall with Joe. And then Sandpail winning Horse of the Year. The first 7-year-old to win Horse of the Year since Savoir got the award back in 1975. And speaking of Sandpail, we caught up with his connections, breeder-owner Glenn Van Camp and owner-trainer Rodney Hughes, after Sandpail was named Horse of the Year.
Sandpail!
And that means the National Breeders' Award goes to Glenn Van Camp.
Horse of the Year, Sandpail. You know,
he's just been a winner, and you know, as I said to some of them, I said he was the one that got kicked as a yearling, couldn't sell him. Actually, it was a San Pellegrino, and not many of the guys were interested in him. And Rod happened to come into my son's feed store, and Robert says I have a good horse that we'd tried and turned out like, and he said there. So I gave him 3/4, and I said no bills. So he's not doing too bad. He's just chasing the $3 million. So you can't get much better than that.
Can you believe the way this whole story has played out? I mean, it's almost like a screenplay.
It is. It's just like a screenplay, and he's one of those ones that comes along every once in a while that, as I said, he doesn't like to get beat.
What was the most memorable moment for you racing this horse this last year?
Well, I got to. Breeders' Crown was pretty special at home to beat the European horses. And I have to say the Nat Ray was my favorite race because we left home and, we won down south. So it was pretty special to me.
A total of 12 Dan Patch divisional awards were given out on Sunday as well, including the 3-year-old filly Pacer of the Year, See You at Peelers, who was in the conversation for Horse of the Year several months ago on the basis of her 22-race winning streak. Unfortunately, her season became a little bit derailed due to health problems.
And co-owner Jimmy Takter, in accepting the 3-year-old filly Pacer award, shared some news about See You at Peelers' future.
After she got beat, I guess a lot of people thought that, this is the end of it. But I look at this at the beginning. She's going to come back and she's going to race again with God's will. Thank you, everybody, and good luck this racing season.
See You at Peelers trainer Jimmy Takter was also recognized for his induction into the Living Hall of Fame, which will take place in July of this year.
Yeah, Jimmy has just had an outstanding career. When you think of Jimmy Takter, you think of horses of the year like Moneymaker, Malabar Man, Trotter of the Year, Cadabra, and the list goes on and on. And at the age of 50, Jimmy has accomplished so much, and I'm sure he's going to accomplish so much more. He caught up with Ken Weingartner after the dinner on Sunday night and offered some insight into his career and something special that he actually did this past Sunday morning.
What does this accomplishment represent to you in your career?
Well, this is a life achievement award. I'm still young. I hope I have a lot left to do in this sport, but it's a great honor. And being with a group of people that is in there, it's a thrill.
Did you do anything exciting today?
Yes, we did. My wife and I and my son, we jumped out of an airplane 18,000 feet. So that's enough excitement for one day. It was scary.
And there was nothing wrong with the plane when you jumped out of it?
No, it was nothing wrong. It was voluntarily.
So what was that experience like?
Oh, scary. Never again. That was one-time deal.
Skydiving, Jimmy Takter. What about skydiving, Jessica Schroeder?
I don't know, Paul. Heights kind of scare me a little bit, and I don't know about jumping to the earth.
Well, one person doesn't seem to be scared of too many things is Jeff Gorell. His undertaking this past year of reopening Meadowlands Racetrack just was the story of the year in harness racing. Jeff received a pair of awards this past Sunday night, and among the things he talked about in his State of the Union, if you will, was what to do with some of the $500 million in subsidies racetracks receive from slot machines.
And it's a disgrace if we don't take 5% of that money, $25 million, and come up with a couple of people and tell them to get things straightened out. For $25 million, 5%, we could be on national TV. Every major race could be on national TV. We can clean up this drug problem, and we can put people in the grandstand. I think everybody agrees. We have got an opportunity. This is not hard. It's a lot harder for me to get the Meadowlands straightened out than it would be for us to turn this sport around.
At this year's awards dinner, there was a special memorial tribute to Stan Bergstein, the only member of the Living Hall of Fame and the Communicators Corner, who passed away last November. Personally, I didn't have many dealings with Stan. However, I was a recipient of one of the scholarships that the Harness Tracks of America did, and I really appreciated the art auction he did at Lexington every year.
Yeah, I knew Stan for many, many years. We first became acquainted when I worked at Raceway Park in Toledo back in 1988 when Mac Lobel made his first start of his 4-year-old campaign at Raceway. Stan came out for that race, and we became acquainted that day. And then we've known each other over the past 20 years through my association here at the USTA. One time Stan sent a package to me here at the USTA, which was kind of interesting. I opened it up and there was a trophy in there and a little inscription that said, "Paul Ramlow, thanks for the man with all the answers from the HTA." I really appreciated that. That is very dear to me, especially now after Stan's passing. He will certainly be missed by all in the sport of harness racing, and it was terrific that they gave him the special tribute at the Dan Patch Awards dinner.
And I think I can speak for everyone at least who worked through Stan's farm team, through his school of hard knocks. We just want to say thank you, Stan, for everything. I think that's the simplest thing that I can say, and I think that anyone else who worked with him or for him can say. And I think also the one thing that I think everyone remembers and which he would probably appreciate is one final good night all to everyone.
Well, Jessica, we didn't have time to touch on all the award winners that received honors this past Sunday, but we'd certainly like to offer them our congratulations. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Here They Come. I'd like to thank TJ Burkett, Ken Weingartner, our producer Rich Johnston, and especially you, our viewers. I'm Paul Ramlow.
And I'm Jessica Schroeder.
Join us again next time for another episode of Here They Come.